Emuna is our future special class. Yes, it's going to be a wonderful focus and continuation on bringing more peace to the world, to the masses. We had a wonderful class today with Avi out below. He was in the studio. Beautiful, beautiful opportunity to continue our Emuna weekly classes now on a Tuesday, 12 p.m. because this is Double Tuesday. You're joining us for Double Tuesday. Emuna doubled up and empowered. It's unbelievable the ability to work through the challenges that we're going through right now with the summer months of Bein HaMitzarim, challenging time period. We are here in the studio, thank God, in Jerusalem, and we're able to share an important, needed class. Emuna is our future with commitment to peace. We have to be committed all the way, even though it's challenged. And we see, where do we see that in this week's Parsha? Parsha's Pinchas. Let's go straight to the Torah, the Holy Torah Kedosha. We see Parsha's Pinchas has the Brisi Shalom. If anyone would have the merit to get an Aliyah for the first Aliyah, being a Kohen, maybe even possibly a descendant from Pinchas, because he was also in this week's Parsha granted the crown of Kahuna, the only person who was able to inherit it later on because of what happened with the story that we're going to read in this week's Parsha. He was not only was he then meritorious to the covenant of peace, but that included the Kahuna. He became a priest as myself, and I saw as I got called up for Mincha this past Shabbos, the afternoon prayer, and we read the Torah. It says by Brisi Shalom, a Vav, and it has a little Yud that's connecting the Vav, a special kind of Vav that's hinted to and talked about. The connection is, it's very much to do with the concept of bris. And we are going to learn this, by the way. We're going to talk about this. We've got some great continued concepts from the New Light, the yearning of will. And we're also going to discuss some of the feedback and continuation already we have from our class that we discussed peace, a unity, peaceful focus in the Holy Land was the class with Avi below. Check it out, check it out, check it out, share it, be committed. And I don't mean committed in a mental home, committed to your mission, to your purpose. And for today's focus, with Brisi Shalom, we're going in the path of Pinchas towards peace, the path of Aaron Cohen, Oev Shalom, Rodev Shalom, Mekabel Bris Torah. We're pursuing peace, we're chasing after it. And no matter what, even though around us, there's plenty of ways that we could, God forbid, not be in a path of peace. There's lots of issues politically, there's lots of issues globally, there's lots of issues, and we discussed it today. It's a sensitive point. When you have family, friends, you're having a hard time communicating, there's not maybe the right level of respect or the right level of relationship, and you want to fix it. But it has to be done, once again, in the path of peace. It has to be done. Kol nesiv asay shalom. The path of Torah go together with the path of peace. It doesn't have to contradict, even though there needs to be things fixed. Like the fact that I didn't have a full studio crew. One of the reasons why I'm delayed, because I've been moved from Sunday to Tuesday. Be transparent with you guys. Baruch Hashem, I was able to get the class, hopefully on some level, successfully accomplished today. We're going to have the Banot, the team downstairs. They're going to hopefully be able to edit it. And we're going ahead, amazingly, with a guest, an amazing guest. He was happy to be here. And we discussed such important concepts. I want to first, before I get into the New Light and discuss a bit more the covenant of peace from Pinchas, I want to just go through a little bit more feedback that I wasn't able to do in the Double Tuesday for part Aleph, the part A. We weren't able to get to all the full amount of wonderful things people say. So this is what someone wrote last week. Appreciating from Beit Shemesh, Eli Goldsmith's class. Shalom, Toda Rabah. Just happened to find you on Twitter, someone else wrote, which led me to YouTube. I teach online as a psalmist of love, which is why I also hear you saying great teaching. I'm grateful for this channel, the Rav, and all the people behind it. Someone else wrote this. It's an emet way of life. Amazing. Shalom. Yes, this is what they wrote. Judaism gives morality, pillar of civilization, humankind. Breslev English. That's us, the team here. I owe a lot to the Rav and you guys. Hashem should bless you. Amazing class. And then this reference to Rudy's class. Rudy shared very powerful personal stories. It was inspiring to hear how he found his purpose and is actively pursuing it. Breslev English. The Emuna videos of the Rab made a huge change in my character in my life. I've known my whole life it's my job to help create a better world through art and by refining my character. Someone else wrote, beautiful, great class. Thank you, thank you. Let us know when he comes to LA. Shalom halavai. And I think that was also talking about Rudy as well, which we're happy to organize. Remember, below we have the links, the Unity bookings, United Souls. We have our Substack. We have the opportunity to connect to all the speakers, all our guests, and to be able to book with them and the ability to meet them in person in your locale, your community. I love Breslev and Tikkun Kali. True that. I'm an activist as well, so yeah. Someone else wrote love. Thank you, Hashem, for everything you give us. Yes, we have a wonderful team. Please God, we appreciate that we've been able to do so many classes, 78 classes. And we miss, with Dayan Elgod, we miss Rav Shalom Morish. We dedicate to them a full recovery. Shon Ben Yemna and Rav Dayan Elchanan is Elchanan Shalom Ben Shoshana Bela. Supposed to have full recovery. And we'll be able to host them again soon in the studio in English. We are hoping still, as we end off our previous class, to have in the future, we're still pushing for L'chaim OG, Admari Stodmai, Judah Michelle, once he's back from Hask. Yeah, definitely amazing future guests lined up, but we have to line them up first and be patient for when those special people will join us. Let's go into a little bit what Avi Abbelow, today's wonderful guest, spoke about. Don't take it for granted. He came in, he lives in a frat, he's got a busy life. He came in special to discuss the concepts of focusing on peaceful unity, but also the 3 points he put out very strong. Aleph, A, the first point, 1, yeah, God's plan. This is all God's plan. A very important concept to have a Emuna and Ashkacha Pratis, but to realize in a deep way that all the scary stuff that's going on right now, historically, during the 3 weeks especially, we're really connecting into that vibe of exile and all the tragedies and disasters that have befallen our people in the world. We commemorate, we hopefully use the 3 weeks for mitzvahs like Tikkun Chatzos, and this is something which in the New Light book, it does discuss the power of will to wake up in the middle of the night, the strength to overcome Taiva Shena, the need to sleep, and to be able to serve God and bring down the mercy and that's needed. But to realize that we can turn around the darkness into light, we turn around the pain. We spoke about it in the Summer Loving class and the Win-Win. Now we're going ahead, now we're in Chodesh Tammuz, the 4th month. It's the Win-Win month. We're going to collaborate in such a way that we're going to hopefully remember the second point, which is then to stand up for the truth. That was Pinchas. Pinchas stood up for the truth. We didn't mention it in the class earlier, but just think about the divine providence. Pinchas was someone who was willing to stand up. Next week, hopefully, I'll be by Ben Shapiro. He's someone out there as a commentator standing up for the truth. We can't be afraid to represent what we believe in. If we really, truly believe it, we should be able to share it publicly and to have the confidence to share it. Once again, anyone online who's here now, you share your truth, share our truth. It's a collaborative movement needed because remember, the online platforms are somewhat shutting down our voice. Yeah, we already heard from Avi Abbelow that he's been shadow banned on Twitter. Hopefully that won't rub off on us. We have to have the strength to be able to share people's content and not to be afraid to be able to put out the message, to make sure that people have the information, the facts, that they can hopefully develop true outlook. And this is standing up for truth, to make sure the facts are available. When I was a kid, I didn't know about the Torah. I didn't know about my own heritage. It was very, very limited, very minimal, very small amount of knowledge, of self-knowledge, of my own path, my own religion, my own history. It was filled up there, like as I mentioned before here once, the only thing I knew about our history, other than a little bit that there was a Bible, which wasn't brought down as a historic truth, but brought down as some, God forbid, as some sort of book, that, sort of tales and things, fables or whatever, Chas v'shalom. But the history, as far as I'm concerned, for the Jewish people was the Holocaust. That was the main thing we learned in school about the Jewish people. When we started off with the Greeks, the Romans, there was no Jewish people around, like really, that featured in those stories, even though if you knew really what was going on before with the temples and the influence the Jewish world has always had historically. We only featured when in the Holocaust, and that was watching pictures and videos of anti-Semitism and seeing a nation under siege. So why would I want to have connection to my history, my heritage, when it was such a bleak picture that was shown to me as a kid? And, you know, the synagogues and the things that Hebrew school that I was connected to didn't do a good job either. So it was very limited Jewish knowledge, wisdom, and thank God I came to Eretz Yisrael. Thank God I merited to meet wonderful educators like Beryl Wine, who had Rabbi Beryl Wine, who were able to teach the true history. I went through all his books. I really got, thank God, a very rich history from someone like him. Rav Nachman Bullman guided me towards the Tanakh, and I went through the Tanakh, went through the Bible, as they call it, the Old Testament. Really, there's only one Testament, the Torah, and I went through the whole thing a few times in English and Hebrew, and then with commentators. And then there's obviously the Talmud and the Mishnayos, all the Torah, the Koyach of Torah. If we're going to stand up with the truth, we have to do it together with the Torah. The Bris Shalom, the covenant of peace, goes together with the Torah. Pinchas was Machadesh, he brought into the reality a new halacha, a new rule, a new ruling that Moshe didn't know. And he was able to be Makayim, that kanois, that act of, I don't want to say how to translate kanois, but it was an act of vengeance that was needed at that time in a very specific way with the right intentions, and he was able to do something which was very delicate, exactly according to the Shulchan Aruch, exactly according to the Torah. And that's the key, that's the Bris Shalom, that's what brings Shalom. When it's according to Ratzon Hashem, Hashem's Torah only brings peace. So even when it seems like an act of vengeance even, which hopefully there won't be many in history, but those small amount that there are, they should be done the right way, and that will bring peace. Sometimes there has to be different ways of dealing with difficult things that go on. But that's going to come from the Torah. The ability to stand up for truth has to come with the Torah, and that's what Pinchas demonstrated. And like I said, he brought peace to the world. He brought an end to the Megefa, to the plague that was going on. He was able to be a Yeshua, salvation for us. And in his parshas, we know, in this week's parsha, that what comes together with Pinchas's act, not only do we now reconnect to all the souls in the parsha, we have a counting, like Sefer B'Midbar is about counting as well, one of the names. We bring together all the souls in this week's parsha. We also go on a journey through the Nachla, through Eretz Yisrael, through the inheritance, and we also, I mean, there's much more to the parsha than I'm saying now, but we also go through the Chagim, the festivals. So we have the souls, we have the place, Eretz Yisrael, and we have all the time, the spiritual times that we experience godliness in. And this is the concept of Oshan, Olam, Shana, Nefesh. This is the concept of place, time. Shana is time, Olam is place, and Nefesh is people, souls. We have to bring together with the emes, with all those levels, that there's a divine providence of where you're at, the place you're supposed to be in, and there's a divine providence with the people that you're with, and the divine providence, and that you have the ability in time to tune in to the spiritual energy that's available. Pesach, Shavuos, 3 weeks we're in now, leading up now to Elul and to Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and Shmini Atzeres, and then we go continue through the year, Hanukkah and Purim, and all the special times there are, the Rosh Chodesh and the Shabbos, and all the special times that we find from the Jewish calendar, from the Torah calendar. There's specific times, and there's a light and a awe. During these 3 weeks, there's a specific light, as we said, to connect to the Churban, the destruction, but to in a way that's on a soul level that's rebuilding it, on a soul level that's giving us the tools to fix the tragedies, to fix the pain, to heal the pain, to console the Shechina, to console the exile, and to fix the lack of Emuna, the lack, as Rav Orish says, we're in the studio, Rav Shalom Orish teaches us, one of the main problems is the lack of Emuna, and that brings us to the third point. Avi Abelai said we have to grow our Emuna. We have to keep growing our Emuna to bring the redemption, to believe in ourselves, to really fulfill our mission, to bring that global, Emuna global, to bring these classes global, to share them, to bring them out. And please God, we're going to have another class, double Tuesday next week. But we need the encouragement of you guys. We need the feeling that we're doing something together. If someone wants to join the class, please feel free to comment underneath, and I'm happy to respond. But yeah, let's go ahead a little bit with a new light. Let's tap into a little bit of Rav Shalom Orish's teachings inside. As it says, the Torah is clothed in prayer. We mentioned last week, check it out in Win-Win class, the idea that there's a concept of unification, bringing that into prayer. So too, Rabbi Nachman said that we must turn his teachings into prayers. That is to say, a person must pray to implement what he learned. So everything we're learning here should be with a path of prayer. We mentioned it a little bit last week. We're going to go a bit more deep into it now. First, he should learn and understand the meaning of what he has learned, and then transform that into prayer. As explained in the Kuti Tefillos, that's the book of prayers written by Rav Nosson, the Talmud of Rabbi Nachman, Simcha. This creates very great delights in heaven, as it's written in the Kuti Maron. These insights into Rabbi Nachman's teaching can also be applied to personal prayers, into Shemona Esrei. That's the special tefillah, 18 prayers we say, which really is 19, but the concept of Shemona Esrei, the silent prayer. A person can mentally review Rabbi Nachman's teaching insight he's learned, and then request knowledge of each teaching from Hashem. Thus, each time a person says, graciously grant us yourself wisdom, understanding and knowledge, Chochmah Bina Das, Hashem should give us that Chochmah Bina Das, the wisdom, understanding, knowledge. He should focus on a particular teaching about spiritual attainments that he has learned and have in mind the wish to achieve them. In that way, he can focus on that at length, with intent and will, when he recites that blessing. For example, when a person has learned Kutumaron, he says, graciously grant us yourself wisdom and knowledge, and that's in the Kutumaron Aleph, the first Torah. He should have in mind that he wants to attain the knowledge to find wisdom in every entity, because that's what it talks about in that Torah of Kutumaron and Rabbi Nachman's teachings, and connect himself to the wisdom and intellect that exists in every entity. So you have a phone, you have a table, as we're speaking about today. Every table is not whatever. A table can be used to host these classes, and these phones can be used to promote Emuna. Technology can be a tool, and the idea that within the tool is intense wisdom and understanding, and you have to pray to be able to connect yourself to the Chen, to the Chochmah, and the Malchus that's in everything. So you're bringing everything together on a spiritual level in every entity. If he has learned Makuti Maron 4, Daled, he should again say, graciously grant, desire to know that all circumstances are for his good. This is just the first prayer in Shemona Esrei, the first Bakashah, after we said the first three prayers of praising Hashem, Magen Avraham, Chaim Mesim, Atah Kodosh. Now we're saying Atah Chanen Adas, in request for Hashem giving us wisdom. We are now combining it with Torahs we've learned. And this is Torah Dalet, as Rav Arush brings down. Desire to know that all his circumstances are what? Are for the good, as Rav Arush sings. When we come on our tours, Rav Arush is singing. Yeah? Hakol Tova. We have to be mamin, that everything is good. Yeah? He's taught us here many times in our Emuna weekly classes, go over those classes and pray that those classes help us become more maminim, people who believe more. We all need it. Like, everyone's going through challenges. Let's be real. Yeah? Let's be real in our daily life. We're feeling like challenged with the income. You're not getting enough paid. We're not getting enough bookings or whatever your job is. And you're not able to afford the lifestyle anymore. So you have to change the lifestyle. And it's difficult for the family. And you've got summer coming up, the summer break. And we have the 3 weeks. So we're feeling a little bit emotionally. And for me personally, I sent off a son to the army. It's like, wow, this is a big thing. Emotionally, you have to work it through. And all the other things that go on in daily life, and we spoke about today, all the challenges globally, you have to dive into Hashem that it's all for the good. Somehow, you have the koyach, the strength. With Hashem helping you, Tain li Emuna, give me Emuna, Hashem will give you the strength to really believe it. So it starts to affect your simchas chaim, affects your relationship with people. You're not really worried if someone, I had last night, someone was getting really upset about a booking situation. It was complicated. And I just wanted to help, honestly, sincerely, help that person, help the booking. But there's pricing and there's things that need to be worked out. But it was like with a ego, with a lachatz, with pressure. I wasn't able to organize it in a sweet way that I like to do all my bookings, because the person on the other side was very whatever, without getting into details, but put out and angry they weren't getting what they wanted, exactly how they wanted and when they wanted. So, there was a difficult conversation, and in the middle of the night, And we have to realize, I woke up this morning, I was like, Modani, it's all the good. I didn't sleep so much. It's been a busy day, double Tuesday today, and I have to run the studio pretty much by myself. But Baruch Hashem, Hakol Tova, everything's for the good, and it will be for the good. And even though it takes a moment, and we have to keep praying on this, but this is what we insert into the prayer. We have the wisdom to understand this is for the good. As Rabbi Nachman teaches us, learn the Kutub Aron 54. He should repeat these words of prayer and have in mind he wishes to understand the hints, the shems in every thought, speech and deed. So now we start to realize all the conversations we're having, all the interactions, the fact that Shir was delayed because we were working out something for long term, how we can improve this situation we're in. And, in the end, even, if the only way it can really improve is with Hashem's help, to open up people's hearts, to open up people's minds, to give us the ability to have more partnership, for you guys listening, Emunalive.com, to partner more, so we have more financial success, so we can really build these classes, build the content with the backing. Like we just saw Rabbi Jacobson, he managed to raise $1.5 million, yeah, $500,500,000 or more dollars. Unbelievable. And that's just for the content. It's just to help his, I'm lucky if I'm able to raise a few thousand. So we have to dive into Hashem to really increase the success. Emunalive.com, people should understand they have the ability to partner, so we can improve the content, improve the quality, so we can have peace of mind, we can have more of a team, more guests, more quality content. It's up to us. Let's pray to understand the truth from what we learn. A person who does not possess understanding cannot understand the true meaning of anything he learns. Even if he learns in the garden of faith, garden of Emuna, in the garden of Shalom, garden of peace, which contain wonderful counsel guided for life. And, we mentioned that a few weeks ago. The Garden of Peace is still in discussion in terms of publicly, but the Garden of Emunah is a world changer. He must pray a great deal to know how to truly understand the light in these books. So that's the big clout. You can read it intellectually, but if you're not praying a lot, not a little bit, a massive amount to understand the light in these books and how to implement them, you're not going to get it. So it's just to take it intellectually, rationalize it, it's not going to work. It has to be through intense prayer. And live the advice and approach that described in these holy books of Rav Arush and the books of Rabbi Nachman and all the Torah Kadosha. If he lacks knowledge, he will not understand what he learns. You're learning Talmud, learning Daf Yomi. Right now, Kesubas, we've, Baruch Hashem, made a siyum on Masechtas Yevomis. Yeah, I hope you guys finished a huge section of Talmud. And now we're in the second Masechta in Seder Noshim, which is your Kesubas, our obligation to our spouse, to fulfill the agreement we make at marriage, to support and love and clothe and all these important parts that we have to obligate ourselves in marriage. This is relationship, real relationships. We talk about relationship flow. Sometimes it can feel like a struggle, but the point is we're doing it together. We're doing it with awareness that it's a mitzvah, that it's Hashem's blessing us, giving us the strength to fulfill our obligations. He wouldn't obligate us unless we could do it. And then the next point is, if he lacks knowledge, he will not understand what he learns. He will even disagree with what he learns. So that's the problem. If we're not praying, then we're going to misunderstand. And once we misunderstand, we'll start disagreeing for it. Therefore, when a person recites, he who graciously gives knowledge, he must have in mind to understand every holy book that he learns in line with the truth of the Torah. And that's one of the things we make a siyum. We ask Hashem to help us, to keep learning books, to learn Torah, to do it right, do it correct. And this is our class. This is how we're going to get to be committed to peace. We have to be committed to Torah in a way that comes together with prayer, that brings it alive, that brings out the shalom, that brings out the peace in the Torah. That we can't have the eish, the fire of Torah, without the tefillahs. The prayer, tefillahs kol peh, is what gives the sweetness and brings the nachas ruach, makes it pleasant, a pleasing aroma, because it brings alive our learning in a way that changes the atmosphere, because we're mamin, that it's Torah Kadosh from Hashem Yisbarach. It's a Ratzon Hashem, and we have to bring it alive in a real way, in a real time. And this is a wonderful gift of this book. Thank you, Rav Arush. Check it out, breslev.com, and all our classes there, as well as all the wonderful books. We've got always big sales going on throughout the site. Check it out. I put it up on all our platforms, all these wonderful sales, weekly sales that go on, and we have the ability to also keep learning and growing together through the online classes, but also to take the books. But the most important thing is to pray on the teachings, so that it should become part of us and that will influence our path. so then we can live the Torah. And then once we're living the Torah, we'll be hopefully what we all aspire for, to be a mensch, to be someone who lives principles and values and has ability to influence the life around us, that will hopefully be more in control of our midot. We won't be so upset, we won't shout, God forbid, we won't get angry so quick. We'll be able to be more calm, more yeshivadas. Like the meditation, the tefillah, the prayer, the internalization, the mindfulness will influence us to become more happier people. And I'm saying this as well as a prayer. We mentioned this last week. We have to be like Esther Malka, constantly praying throughout the day for everything to be l'tova, for everything to affect us in a good way, to learn how we interact with people, what we learn in the Torah. So every part of our life, our business interaction, everything should be with a sweetness, with a happiness, with a joy, with a munah. And that's the kind of effect that the teachings that we're doing here, the munah is our future, should influence and go global, should help people have more menuchas and nefesh. And then we have Avi Abelo, who we had here today. It can influence the whole global situation, because then we have people who are awake, who are woken up, not the woke movement, God forbid, but who are actually awake in consciousness. They have a expanded consciousness, how they do things, how they run things, how they connect online. They do it with love, with connection, with respect, with mutual respect. They're able to communicate properly. We're not trying to win a competition here of who's the wisest or anything. We're trying to grow together. We're trying to constantly develop abilities to become to a better place. So anyway, someone says, "Hi Hashem, bless you all." Yes, amen. Thank you on YouTube. We've got to keep getting these classes out there. I'm going to finish off a little bit because we did start late. So I'm going to do 2 more minutes or so of special announcements. One of them is that, as I mentioned already, that my son's in the army. So I want you all to pray together with me. Baruch Yitzhak ben Masha should have a shmirah, and all the army of the Israeli army should have protection, and all the people, please God, out there should hopefully be in a path of peace. There shouldn't be any need to make any war. Thank God with technology we have ability to deal with things without having to put people at danger, and we can resolve things hopefully through peaceful ways, through diplomacy, through connection, through mutual respect. We don't have to have any more major wars anymore. This war in Ukraine, should pray for peace over there. Should be peace in the world. We should live up to the teaching of our voice. Pray for peace. Shalom al Yisrael, shalom al olam. We should have to be peace in the world. Something which we need more than ever. One of my favorite songs I did with Nissim Black, I was meritorious, was Peace in the World with Avi Delavanti and Nissim Black. It was a beautiful song. We really need that peace. We see the Arabs and the Jews playing together and being together. Thank God there are people out there, Yosef Haddad, other people out there to bring peace. We've had lots of guests like that. Avi Abelo is a bit more on the right wing, so we're opening the door to have the discussions and develop and understand his way of thinking. It's amazing, very helpful, and this is how we grow a path for peace, by constantly bringing different personalities, developing the shalom. Yes, shalom Dila Ablazer. Yes, Javir, our friend. We appreciate your love. We appreciate your constant support in what we're doing, and we hope that it will grow to a point that it can impact in a real way. Amen. Hashem should bless us all. But a blessing from one of our followers. The blessings mean a lot, and the love, the sharing, the connection. This is what it's about. We need to help each other. We need to be collaborative. That's another big thing. I was saying to people online, there needs to be much more collaboration. We put up the meaningful minute clip that they took from our content, and we tagged them, and hopefully they'll share it. If they don't, it doesn't matter. But we, Baruch Hashem, are happy to have our content go out there. But it's even nicer when it's mutual and it's with collaborative energy, that we're appreciating what you do, appreciating what I do, and it's a collaborative effort. And that was what I was talking about. Sometimes it's hard to keep a check of all the different things going on, but the goal is that we should have a kavanah, an intention, that all the work we're doing is only to build each other and build each other's platforms. It needs to be done in a together way. And that's why when you like and share and subscribe and follow and all the things, the links we put up, it makes a difference. It gives us ability. You rate the podcast, apparently. Give 5-star on Spotify and Apple, wherever you guys are. We're putting up podcast episodes every week. And you can help it grow by supporting it. It needs to have the love. Look at people like Ben Shapiro, the commentators on politics, and look how much success, thank God, the Daily Wire and what they're doing has. This should be the path we should also aspire for with Emuna and sharing unity concepts and peace, and be able to bridge the gaps. Each person has their own way of doing it, but I need you guys to help me do it in a bigger way, in a more successful way, for this to continue. Please God, I'm praying we should be blessed to have long-term success, and it's up to us together to keep praying for that. Everything, the Unity booking should grow, that I'm part of the Emuna Class, Emuna Tour, the Emunalive.com, to keep partnering, and we should keep growing. And with that, we'll be blessed, please God, by us bringing all the different aspects of unity and Emuna in a global level. We'll see the divinity in everything, in our relationships, in people, as he spoke about from Pinchas. We'll stand up for the truth, and we'll be able to bring out the good, the soul energy, the inner level, the inner aspect. This is what prayer is doing. It's developing the inner reality. So we don't just have an external unity, we have an inner unity. The inner world is having expression. And that's during these 3 weeks. Here's someone saying, may all the world have peace and knowledge of God. Amen. That's what's going to happen when Mashiach comes. Messiah comes, is going to be the whole world's going to know Hashem. But we have the part to play now before Mashiach comes, before the Messiah comes, to prepare the world, to build the vessels so that we can have a part to play in the Messianic days, please God, that are very soon. We have to be part of that process. Realize that all the things going on are part of building that. But the key is that the inner connection is real. That you really believe, ma'amin, inside, in yourself, in your godly mission, in Hashem Yisbarach. You really believe in the power of prayer. You believe in the power of love and kindness and partnering. How do you express it? If you're doing charity, if you're doing things that really make a difference. So all of us should be blessed in a real way, should have a wonderful week, and will, please God, be sharing a commitment to peace, commitment to bring peace to your homes, commitment to bring peace to your community, and please God, commitment to peace to the whole world. Thank you for joining us. I hope this was energized as much, and keep sharing Emuna.